Look who's back! It's Mitch Mercury. How you doing? And welcome to a special edition of Mitch Mercury. But today, it's not about the news. It's about people I've met, and by popular demand, I've been asked to come back. So I'm going to do a bit. Excuse me. Right, here we go. So this is things I saw last week, observations that I've picked up on. And the first one is, for instance, did you know Paul Holt and Michelle live next door to Wayne and Sharon Hutchins in Fradley? No, neither did I. But what's more interesting is where they live in Fradley. For those viewers who don't know where Fradley is or what it is, let me explain. There's three types of people. There's the people that can afford to live in Lichfield. Then there's the people that can't afford to live in Lichfield, go to Burntwood. Then there's the really poor people that can't afford to live in Burntwood, go to Fradley. And this is where we're at. Like Alan and Debbie Evans, they can't afford to live in Lichfield. Then there's the others. There's Wayne and Sharon Hutchins. There's Paul Holt. And Michelle, who live in the housing association plots, right in the corner of the village. I wouldn't recommend going there to these houses. They're not very nice, and they make do, but they are really nice people. Saying that, I don't think Alan Evans would be too impressed if they moved him next to him. No, all getting a bit posh now, are you, Alan? Right, so saying all that, Wayne and Sharon Hutchins, who happen to be the mayor of Fradley, mind you, that's only because Alan and Debbie couldn't be arsed and told them to stick it up their arse. Wayne takes his duties very seriously. When he cut the ribbon for the opening of the co-op, he bought a new pair of scissors. Well done, Wayne. Now, you know Mitch has come out with some bullshit over the last couple of weeks, and even today perhaps, but this is true, I promise you. Paul Holt has been grounded by Michelle. I hear you say, yeah, and what's the big deal? Well, the crack is, he's in isolation. He's in isolation and he's been grounded. It's quite bizarre. You've got to go through some sort of effort to get grounded and be in isolation. Well, let me tell you what happened. Michelle wanted to go out for a run with her friend, but Paul firmly advised against it because people would talk and all the social distancing, and it weren't right. Well, Paul Holt friend Glenn Freeman said he'd come round, but after what he said to Michelle, he didn't think it right. So the crafty bleeder, so he told Michelle he was going to work, and he met Glenn Freeman at his workplace. And they had a couple of cans together. This would have been all right if Michelle hadn't found out. But that idiot Glenn Freeman told Michelle. So that's where it comes from. So he has been grounded in isolation. Well done, Paul Holt. As you can see on the video of Paul, isolation hasn't been kind to him. Putting on a bit of weight there, isn't he, our kid? Saying that, and the other thing is, if you ever want to know about kids and alcohol, this is a great reason why you don't give kids an alcohol. This, again, is back to Paul Holt's house.
In the news today, Paul Holt's family is driven to alcohol.
Such a shame to see a kid in such a state. Thanks for the video, Holty. Something else I noticed this week is how small Richard Young was. I was talking to him at the car. social distancing and all that. And he had his flip-flops on. He was like his little Zebedee trying to speak to me. He was bouncing up and down, and the window, he couldn't, because my car's quite big, he was bouncing up and down. So but it was getting a bit tiring for Richard, so he just said, right, move back and we'll make eye contact. But he got that far back because he's that small, but we couldn't hear each other in the end. And I normally only see Richard at work with his steel toe caps and his high heels. Richard Young is the only bloke I know that has got high-heeled steel toe cap boots. He gets them specially made from Screwfix because he's only small. I had a session with Richard once. He dragged me under the table. He walked under it. Hey. I saw Gaz Shaw the other day down the shops and he was very complimentary about the videos. Thank you, Gaz. Nice to see you got over the anorexia. Gaz Shaw, great name. Shaw means sure you'll get knocked out. Anyway, I saw young Tez and John at the Johnson car park. From what I could see, John had Tez in an headlock. John was saying, do you want the pub now, do you? And I could only make out Tez in a whimpered voice saying, no, no. John's coming back with, I bet you bloody don't now with all this going on, you twat. Or it was worse to those effect. Something I've learned, never, ever, ever slag Lloyd Hutchins off. I was with his mum Sharon and I was only having a bit of banter about Lloyd. She gave me such a look, she's more scary than anything I've seen on Tiger King. Dave Vaughan. I was going to have a bit of banter about Dave Vaughan, but I don't really want the hassle with Mark Vaughan, the harder one of the brothers. And Sean Purcell I saw earlier today, he's still alive. And you hear about blokes being buried under the patio. So Michelle, in these difficult times, you get the urge, make sure you get the biggest heavy-duty whacker plate or you could end up with a floating patio. Apparently, Dave McCarthy is happy to supply free of charge. I wonder why. Stay safe and stay in. Love it, bye.